Here we go. I'll start. Do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay. Hey everyone. I kind of forget how we used to do this. So we'll just jump
Did
into
you
it.
not used to introduce it? Cal
No.
used to introduce it.
No, we just started.
Oh, okay.
Well, the thing was, Cals was blind, right? So he never knew when I started recording.
Oh.
So whenever he was about to say something interesting, I'll just hit record.
That's
and then we
sneaky.
would go. Yeah. And then about 20 minutes in, he'd be like, are we recording? Yeah. Like, we've been recording for 20 minutes. He'd be like, oh, good. Because he was also really impatient to get to the hour.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? He'd be like, if I see go, he would be like, oh, are we in now yet? You know what I mean?
It's 5 minutes in, and
Yeah.
you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and I'd be like, we're not quite there. But if he didn't know, he would talk genuinely.
For 2 hours.
Yeah. And then, there's been times I'd have to be like, into the mic, and he'd be like, why? I'd be like, we're recording. He'd be like, oh no. I shouldn't have said all that stuff. I was like, no, it was gold. Keep going. Yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is, we're back. I'm back. The show is here. Here is the show. This sounds weird because even though you've heard even though the show's come back, this is the first one we're actually recording.
Mm.
So we're recording out of order and playing them out of order.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, first one back. I need someone I don't have to work out the dynamics. So I was like, great. And then Alex was like, stress, anxiety. She sent me messages with these key words in it. And I was like, do you want to do the podcast? And she was like, we already do a podcast, Dick. And I was like, no, the other one. So she's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
I was like, well, I kind of wanted to guest on it anyway, so
exactly.
here I am.
Exactly. So it's kind of worked out well. The bad part about this is we haven't done our podcast in ages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's start doing this one. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Our one is, I love doing our podcast. The only downside is it involves a lot of prep.
It does involve a lot of prep, and
we have
also I have terrible ADHD traits.
Yeah.
And I get into moods where I'm suddenly oh, I don't want to ever see a TV ever again. I will literally throw it across my yard.
Yeah. Yeah, we picked a bad show to do.
Yeah. Well, no, the problem is that it would be like that for anything.
Yeah.
True. It would not matter.
Yeah.
I probably at some point, it's not bored. That's not the right word.
Yeah.
It's just that I get so demotivated on that particular thing.
Yeah.
And then I'll just come screaming back after a couple of months and be I'm back and I'm ready to go.
I feel you, man.
So it's probably good I don't do this as a job.
Yeah. Yeah,
actually, this is why I don't do art as a job.
Yeah. The other thing is, with our, I don't know how you feel about it, but with our show. Oh, for those who've never heard it, for those who've only ever listened to this show. So me and Alex do a podcast called, Oh My God, Have You Watched this? So this is because we haven't done it for ages. Oh My God, Have You Watched This? Where we review TV shows we give each other, right? Yeah. So, the prep is you have to watch TV shows. Yeah. Which doesn't sound like prep. But you've also got to analyze the show.
Yeah, and we have normal day jobs.
Yeah, and sometimes we give each other shows we don't like.
Yes.
So I'll get a show and you'll get a show that you don't like.
Which during the podcast is really funny.
Yeah.
But when you're just there in your everyday life having to watch this shit show.
Oh, God,
it's really rough.
Deadly Sins one was just torture the whole time. Each of the shows have always, I've always looked for the silver lining. I've been like, well, this was good. Do you know what I mean? Or what was the one, the pirate one? One Piece.
One Piece, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's not my thing, but you know what? I actually really like this character. There was a particular character I really liked, and the sets were amazing and all that sort of thing. So I was like, this is really good for that. You know what I mean? But that Seven Deadly Sins was just the whole time.
And it's funny because Seven Deadly Sins is a really popular anime,
and that's fine. Nothing against the people who like it. It just was not my thing. But so we do that show. So yeah, there is a lot of prep. But did you notice? I don't know how you feel about it, but like I obviously don't want to stop doing the show, but like, it's a good show to do in winter when you're like, oh, it's rainy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
gonna snuggle up and watch this show.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it earlier anyway, but maybe like, you know, I mean, we are kind of getting to the point. We did it for a while. We did it for like 6 months or something.
Yeah, like there
it was a
of
while,
episodes,
yeah. And I think that part of the issue was that we got to the point where we were like, actually, because we watch some of the same similar shows, we're running out of shows.
Yeah. So
we need to now we maybe have to revamp it. Yeah. We have to start, like, I actually quite liked some of the ones where we did movies and then we just both talked about it.
Yeah, they were good.
Anyway.
They were good.
I love that this podcast has just become like our business meeting about our other show.
That's all right. That's all right. Who cares? I mean, there's no format to this. It's not like our show where we have a format.
Welcome to our business meeting. This is literally how they go.
Yeah. But we'll work it out. Like, I think we just got to try stuff.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? We got to fail upwards, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to be like, let's do this. It doesn't work. Okay, that sucked. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
And all that sort of thing. But I tell you what, I will give everyone a show to watch. But this isn't for our show. This is just like I'm recommending something to everyone. Yeah. Because I found something on the YouTubes.
Oh no.
And I have fallen in love with it. And it is so frustratingly funny. You know the shows where you just end up yelling at the TV? But it's funny. It's a comedy. So, okay, have you watched Auntie Donna? Did I make you watch Auntie Donna yet?
Oh, yeah, we watched a little bit.
We watched a little bit
and I've watched a little bit on TikTok.
Okay.
Like, they are on TikTok sometimes.
So they've got this YouTube channel. It's completely different from the YouTube channel, but you can access it through theirs. So if you look up Auntie Donna, and it's called The Most Upsetting Guessing Game in the World.
Oh, no.
And it is so funny. And so the way it works is it has at least... So far every episode has at least one of the guys from Auntie Donna. And then there's 5 people on the show altogether. And it rotates every show, right? But it's made up of like 10 people and they kind of rotate through them, right? So there's a host or an MC. There's there's an MC, and then you have these 4 people. 3 of them are party guests, and 1 of them is a party host. And each of them get given a quirk that they have to act out.
Okay. Whose line is it anyway? Yeah.
Yeah. But in Whose Line Is It Anyway, it was like, well, you're an astronaut.
Yeah.
On Mars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a leaky helmet. You know, you're an astronaut with a leaky helmet. It was like to that level.
Yeah.
This is like, okay, this was one of them that I remember. You are a child you were you as a child in a drama class or a theatre sports class, and you have to play this game, and you are the teacher of that child. And in the game, your character lives on a flag. And then they'll be like, and also... You're what was the one the other day? It was impossible, and the guy ended up just almost in tears trying to guess it. You're an electron. What's the thing that goes around an atom? Electrons? Neutrons. You know, like you have
protons?
Hydrogen. Protons.
I know.
Anyway, they spin, apparently.
Yeah.
And apparently... So one of the guys watched a YouTube thing on physics, and says like, okay, you're the proton in an atom, and you're in every position constantly, except for when Broden guesses what you are, and then because when you view a proton, it looks like it's frozen, so you have to freeze in that position, and then the waveform collapses, and you're the lost energy of the waveform.
Oh my god!
And so he's like, I don't even know what that means. He's like, you have to act it out. So, but they don't just get one thing; they'll get like 4 things.
How
and they're all that hard.
Why is it like? Yeah. How would you ever guess all of those things?
That's the point. The game can't end until the party host has guessed everything.
Oh my god!
Yeah, there was one the other day, and it was this woman was the party host, and she like the friendship almost ended due to the show. It was that she was like, I honestly don't want to talk to you for a while. Like, don't call me. Because one of the guys had to go out and do very obvious things, and when she guessed, even if the guess was right, he had to go like, oh, no, and get real angry with her. And then every second or third guess, he had to go to the MC and be like, look, I think we cast the wrong person. Can we maybe stop and reshoot this with someone else?
Oh my god.
and so she kept thinking that it was legit.
It was real.
Because every time she was like, oh, you're a chef, he'd be like, oh, even though he's doing chef things, he's like, no. And every time he came back, he had to do something completely different.
Oh my god.
So she's just losing her mind thinking like...
I would lose my mind.
Yeah, like, I'm guessing everything right, and you keep bitching about me.
Yeah.
So she thought that it was a personal attack. It is so funny.
Oh my god.
And all the people in it end up just screaming at each other like, you're not listening, you know, and all this sort of thing. It's amazing. So if you look up Auntie Donna and you go to the YouTube channel, it's called the most horrible, the saddest guessing game. Oh, the most, anyway, look up the guessing game on Auntie Donna's channel. You can't miss it. It is... Each episode's like an hour to an hour and a half.
Jesus.
And they're just hilarious. And they give each other the things. Mm. So, like, sometimes they're like, why did you do this? And they're like, it wasn't me, it was that one. You know what I mean? They did it. Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. I actually better get the name right. So I keep talking when I do it. What have you been watching? What is your thing at the moment? Like, what is your, like, I have to go on YouTube and watch this today?
I haven't really been watching, like, YouTube stuff.
Or whatever.
I mean, I always watch YouTube stuff.
What's your goal at the moment?
I've been watching Exo Kitty.
Oh,
which,
no, you mentioned that the other day.
Yeah. Is
still don't know what that is.
The worst, best show ever. I don't apologise for it. It's not good. It's not meant to be good. And that's why it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, fair
and
enough.
I also scream at the TV.
Oh, yeah?
But only because I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're an embarrassment to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's just so funny.
What is it?
It's just like a teen rom-com.
Okay. Because the girls have mentioned it.
Yeah.
My girls have mentioned it.
Yeah, and they hate it too.
Yeah. But they keep going like... Yeah,
people are like... It's like been the top 10 show on Netflix for like weeks.
Wow,
it's
really?
so popular.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this is the second season.
Yeah.
And essentially what it is... so there was a movie series called To All the Boys I Love. About a girl who wrote 5 letters. Her thing was basically that, like, when she stopped loving someone or when she wanted to, when she realised that her crush on someone was not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Her thing to kind of get over it was that she would write a letter to them about loving them and why she loved them and all that kind of stuff. And then she would put it in an envelope and then she would put it in a secret place.
Okay.
Right? And that was like her taking her feelings, putting them on a piece of paper, and then releasing them back into the world so that she didn't have to get caught up on that crush anymore and she could move forward.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah, all right.
So that was her thing.
So it was like like people burn things.
Yes, yeah, like
burn
that.
all the pictures.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Okay, yeah.
And she'd been doing it since she was like little. Like since she was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, so she has these... And she's had 5 crushes or something like that. So she has 5 letters.
Yeah.
It has to be like full-blown crushes.
Yeah.
Like that she's like fully obsessed with.
Not
right?
just like a you take my fancy a little bit. Yeah, okay.
So she's got 5 letters that she's done. And somehow, you don't find out until later in the series, if somehow those letters get sent to those boys.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Which then manifests into this whole thing where she ends up in like, because one of them is a letter to her sister's boyfriend.
Oh.
So her older sister's boyfriend,
Yeah.
who she's had a crush on.
Ah.
Right?
Okay,
So she wrote this letter, and then it gets sent to him, and he kind of freaks out.
Yeah.
And so one of her classmates helps her out. He's also from one of the letters, but he was from one of the letters back when they were like 12.
Oh, so he's like, whatever.
Yeah, so, and now they're like way older, and he's like, whatever, like. Anyway, so but they basically make an agreement to be in a fake relationship so that the sister's boyfriend stops kind of freaking out about the whole thing, and she's all like, oh, I've moved on, like, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, obviously, even though they're in a fake relationship, they end up falling in love. Anyway, so this is actually a spin-off of that.
Oh, okay.
So it's the little sister, right, of the youngest sister of this girl, and in the movie she meets a boy in Korea, and they become pen pals.
Is this a Korean thing?
Well, they're a Korean-American family.
Okay.
Right? So, in one of the movies, they just visit Korea.
Okay. So that's cool.
So, it's an American show.
It's not a K-drama, it's an American.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing, right? Is that basically what they decided to do is they decided to do the spin-off of the younger sister.
Yeah.
And they decided to do a cross-American rom-com, cross-Korean rom-com.
Okay.
Which hasn't really been done before. And as you know, because you've watched a couple of them, Korean dramas are not the same as American dramas.
Yeah.
Like, they're very different. And there's a whole, like, process, and there's, like, certain things that you have to put in Korean dramas, and certain, like, episodes have to have certain things, and all this kind of stuff. Like, like, there's always one of them gets sick and the other one has to look after them, and like there's all these things, right? There's like kind of unwritten rules.
Okay.
And American dramas are totally not the same. No. Like, you're at like the 16th episode of a K-drama and they've just held hands.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, but they've crossed some of those Korean drama like tropes, as they say, with American drama.
Oh yeah.
And to the best of their ability. But basically what it is that the younger sister of that girl, she moves to Korea to go to an international Korean school that her pen pal goes to, who she now is basically in love with.
Okay.
Because they've been writing for years.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is I'm never going to watch this.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's literally about teenagers.
I mean, it sounds like people would like it. I'm just not
but there are some really good characters.
Yeah.
And basically, like, it's because, like, you kind of have this, like, because of the character dynamics and stuff, you get very caught up in, like, what's gonna happen, and like, and you're kind of like, lots of people like are rooting for certain couples to be together or certain people to be together, and they kind of like stretch it out and you don't know if they're gonna be together and stuff like that. So people get like really, really caught up in that and really like it. So, and I really like it. So, I mean, but I mean, at the same time, it's also bad. Yeah. Like, it's really cringy because it's a teenage rom-com, like that's what it is. But it's meant to be. Like,
cool. Okay. Well, neat. I think,
that was like the longest explanation ever.
So the show, by the way, the show I watch is The Most Upsetting Guessing Game, is what it's called.
The Most Upsetting Guessing Game.
Yeah, it's very funny. It is insane.
I'm gonna try it, but honestly, I don't know, eh?
Oh, no, it's worth it, because it's worth it just to see how they try and act things out and all that sort of thing. Because, like, they can talk, but they can't say directly what it is. But they can be like, oh, like it rhymes, like, say this word. And they'll be like, they'll say the word and they'll be like, but just shorten it, you know what I mean? Just the first half.
But I'm so bad at, like, not, feeling the emotions of, like, what people are feeling on screen. And so if, like, things get, like, I hate those shows that are, like, secondhand embarrassment
yeah.
because all I do is feel embarrassed. Like,
Yeah.
I get those embarrassment
Then
endorphins.
you're going to feel a lot of stuff with this.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, it seems like it would be funny, but at the same time, am I going to want to kill someone at the end of it?
Yes.
It's quite likely.
Yeah. Yeah, watch it when you're alone.
When I'm alone.
So you don't end up hurting your husband. Because, like...
I just chop his hand off in frustration.
Domestic violence ain't cool, so, like, yeah. I have an announcement to make.
Oh?
A very exciting announcement.
Wait. You didn't tell me this beforehand, now I'm scared.
Oh, no, you already know this.
Oh.
So I'm doing a show in the upcoming comedy festival in Hubs North.
Yes.
So I'm doing a whole show, as opposed to half a show. I'm doing a whole show. By the way, I did a set last night.
Oh.
Like, I did a show last night. I did 6 minutes. Well, actually, I don't know how long I did. Could have been way longer.
Mm.
I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I fucking slayed last night.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I totally forgot the dates. I thought that it was next week, I think. Or I think I thought that it was
quick.
Next month.
Yeah. It stuck up real quick.
Yeah.
It was just like an open mic. But we're doing them at the moment in the Globe Theatre. But in the foyer.
Oh.
It was really cool because there's all these couches and stuff, so we just pulled over couches, grabbed some chairs and tables and just made a little space. No, nothing's going on in the theatre, so it was empty.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, because like when you use Globe 2, which is a smaller theatre, like the tech booth is up a ladder. And it's kind of a real pain in the ass, to be honest. And also, like, when you have an open mic, you tend to get, like, we had, like, 25 odd people there, maybe. I don't know. Maybe less than that. Probably including the comedians, maybe that. But when you're in a 100-seat theatre, it just feels like there's no one there.
Yeah.
Whereas we kind of bunched everyone in, and it made a real nice, like space. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like a good crowd. And I fucking slayed. Anyway, so I'm doing this new show that I'm writing at the moment. And it's called, you ready? Explaining Things to God. Politics, Religion, and Drugs.
Okay, yeah.
So, the premise of the show is God comes back after 5,000 years on holiday. Right? Don't ask where he goes on holiday. Because he's... What do they call it? Benevolent? No.
Benevolent?
No.
It went to another universe.
Yeah, like, because he's everywhere. I don't know what that's called. Omnipotent? No. Impotent? No.
No. Impotent.
Omnipresent?
Omnipotent? I feel like omnipotent.
It
What's
kind of feels
omnipotent?
I don't know.
I feel like that might be right.
Well, you're meant to be the smart one in this.
Wait. I'm not.
Anyway, God's everywhere, right? But he goes on holiday, so he's not paying attention for 5,000 years.
I've seen this in the Discworld, correct? Yep. Go.
Oh, fuck. Am I just ripping off Discworld?
No.
No. Anyway.
No, I meant about God going on holiday.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, because Death goes on holiday in the Discworld. Yeah. Anyway, God goes on holiday, and after 5,000 years, he's like, can someone catch me up? And I'm the guy who has to catch him up. So I'm explaining things to God. Like God's like, so how did politics work? And you have to explain it. So it's not like I'm not trashing politicians, although I do. It's like, this is what politics is. And then God obviously has... So what I'm trying to do is point out how stupid things are from an outsider's perspective.
Right.
So, because, like, imagine if you're an alien and you land, you're like, take me to your best world leader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be a real struggle to pick the one that's the best. Because they're all kind of scum.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and so they'll be like, this is the best one. This. 9 billion people and you picked this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing I'm going for. Like, from an outsider's perspective, like, Christmas is real dumb. The idea of Santa is terrifying to an outsider. Because they'll be like, what do you mean you just let this person in your house? Well, we don't let him in, he comes in. Well, how does he get in? Well, he kind of sneaks down the chimney. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, does anyone, like, watch him? He's like, no. Why is he there? For the children. And it's like, it doesn't look good,
Yeah.
So that's what the show is. So I'm writing it at the moment. I tried some of the material last night and it went down really well.
For the record,
Yeah.
omnipotent is having unlimited power. So
Okay, that's
I
kind
guess
of,
it is kind of like that. Benevolent is being kind and
yeah.
like, and I mean, depends on the god you're talking about, really, when you're talking about that.
Well, Buddha's pretty nice. And what did he ever do,
I mean, like, the original, like, Old Testament, God is like...
God's bad.
God's like, slay!
Yeah.
Smite everything!
Because, you know what? You know what's interesting that you say that? Is I've been doing some research for the show. Because I don't want to say things that aren't true.
Right.
I don't want to be like, well, religion's bad because of this. And it's like, well, no, that's a perception, not a fact. So I've got to make sure I keep shit factual. Same with politics. Like, I'm not going to be like, nation sucks. Or like, oh, Labour sucks. I've got to keep it neutral because my job. Whoever's in charge or whoever's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the idea of how politics works.
Yeah.
But here's something I found out for you. So guess the body count in the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? Put together, right? Guess the body count of God.
I know that you mean deaths, but it's still...
Yeah, deaths. Guess how many people God killed.
Guess how many people God boned.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, he's a real fuckboy. Guess the death count in both the books on God's shoulders.
Oh, right? I mean, is the
Uh-oh. Comes pooches.
Here comes the dogs. Attack.
Go. Have to go.
Is the oh my gosh, why can't I remember this? Where they like put all of the animals onto the boat and
the Noah's
Ark,
yes, yeah.
Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Is that in the Old Testament?
Yeah. But I'm talking about both books.
Oh, you're talking about both
Old
books?
and new.
Because, like, theoretically, right?
Yeah.
In the Bible, isn't that like the whole world that he got rid of?
Except for like 6 people.
Like, I don't. Who has gone through? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the answer to that is.
Sorry. Are you saying that you looked it up and someone has gone through the whole Bible and found the number?
Both books.
I love that.
They have a very solid estimate.
Right.
Because no one knew what the population was. But they have a very solid estimate based on evolution, population spread, just general history of, like, if it happened at this point, like they said, this is how far humans had travelled around the world, sort of thing.
Right.
And so if you take that and then look at how fast population rises in certain places during that period, blah, 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 they have a pretty solid scientific guess.
Right.
Right? Between two numbers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, the problem is that, like, my guess would probably be pretty bad for that. Yeah. I'm going to go with, like... I'm going to go with 25 billion people.
No, it's way less than that.
Oh,
but, like,
okay.
They reckon it's like 60 to 75 million.
Okay,
right?
Sure.
They reckon if Noah's flood happened,
right,
that possibly could have been the body count, right?
Right.
Right.
Because, of course, you can't think about the fact that there's 7 billion people on the planet now, but there wouldn't have been 7 billion people on the planet back then.
No, it wasn't that many. Okay, now, guess Satan's body count.
Oh, as far as I'm aware, Satan really hasn't actually killed a lot of people.
No, but there is a number. But there's a hard number, like this many.
Oh, okay.
Now, let's just say for argument's sake, let's go low end. Let's say 50 million. Yeah. Let's lowball this, because it's a nice round number.
I'm trying to think, because I don't really know any specific stories about Satan killing people specifically.
But just, let's look at it this way. Like, okay, if God is good, and he killed 50 million, Satan's bad.
Yeah, except that the problem is that, like, I don't really think of it like that.
No.
Satan is, like, the equivalent of, like, okay, Satan is basically the equivalent of, like, you know how, like, you have climate change?
Yeah.
Right? And climate change
Yeah.
is good, right?
Okay.
Like, well, sorry, like, changing the climate change.
Okay. Oh,
is
yeah,
good.
like fixing climate
fixing
change. Yeah,
climate
okay.
change is good.
I was like,
Right.
really?
No,
Trump?
sorry.
Calm down.
Fixing climate change is good, right? So, if you have, like, all of the people that want to, like, fix climate change,
Yeah.
right? And then you have, like, all of the people that kind of, like, don't want to.
Yeah.
It's really hard to explain where I'm going with this. But
Right.
basically, like, it's the equivalent of basically, like, people not really understanding that in changing something, in fixing something,
Yeah.
or doing something good, usually something has to change, and usually something massively dramatic.
Yeah.
Right? And then you've got all of these people, like oil people or whatever,
Yeah.
and they don't technically want any change.
No.
And now, long term, that's really bad.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And as a theory, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Right? But they're not necessarily doing anything directly bad right now.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All
Okay?
right. I'm with you.
So, like, for me, it's like the devil isn't specifically doing bad things.
Yeah.
He's an idea of
Yeah.
bad things, or he's like a long-term bad thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Because Satan's, like, worst thing,
Yeah.
like, the worst thing that Satan essentially does, and the thing that essentially got him kicked out of heaven,
Yeah.
is the fact that he questioned everything.
Yeah. That's
Is
right.
the fact that he was basically like, no,
It's like, I have a
actually,
question.
actually, this isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, you know, argumentally, you could say maybe he's not the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's really difficult to say, right?
Yeah.
It depends what, like, the devil and God being good and bad is purely based on perspective, just like everything else in the world. Yeah.
So what's your number?
What's your number? 5,000 people.
10.
Oh, damn it, I was going to say 10.
And guess who sanctioned all
I was
those
all
hits?
like, I'll say 10, and then also like, no, it's probably going to be something stupidly small, so
Yeah,
go with
10.
5 instead.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
And God asked them to kill those 10.
Yeah.
So they're really on God's shoulders. So there you go. Anyway, that's kind of what the show is going to be. And then I go on to make a Hans Gruber, like Bruce Willis. You know, he's a good guy in that movie, but really, he kind of kills everyone.
Yeah.
Hans Gruber just kind of killed one dude. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he was just like, look, I don't like killing people. He didn't even want to kill that guy. The guy didn't give him a... Anyway, actually, no, think about it. He kills 2 guys. I'm going to have to watch Die Hard again, is what I'm trying to say, is I have to watch Die Hard again. But, yeah, so that's the new show. I think I'm going to be on a Thursday night. And I got a feeling I'm the first show in the festival. Like, I'm show 1. Yeah, which is kind of exciting.
Oh,
Yeah, I think.
nice.
That's what I've heard. But yeah, it's very exciting, so hopefully people come to that.
I think it'll be good. Yeah.
It'll be either really good or terrible. It won't be. It'll be either like God and Noah's Ark or Satan's 10 people. Do you know what I mean? Like, that will be the body count.
The body count.
So, yeah, I'm very excited about that idea. But the writing of it is very stressful.
I mean,
So
one
hard.
time I saw this entire show where this person literally just did... This is in the comedy festival.
Yeah.
Right? And they just did a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And then just, like, brought up pictures of, like, old food that used to be made back in, like, the 1970s and names of that food. And then was all like, lol, look at this hilarious dish here.
Like a shit show.
Like, that was the whole show.
Wow.
So, I mean,
yeah.
the bar is really low, and I've watched you do comedy before, so I'm not worried.
Yeah. There's some great shows coming though, so hopefully I can live up to it. But yeah, that's very good. Should we talk about mental health?
Sure.
So we had a conversation the other day, and I don't really want to go into the subject of the
conversation. Okay, so legitimately, like, sometimes I'll just, like, stop talking for, like, days, and then I'll suddenly message Dylan and just be all like, oh my god, I've got so much anxiety, and just, like, dump all of this stuff on him, which is so bad. But
that's fine. I'm actually kind of, like, I'm used to people doing that.
Right.
Like, for some reason, they're like, I'll tell Dylan. And that doesn't bother me. Like, if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, that's me, don't let it phase you. Like, it's fine. It puts my own life into perspective sometimes. Where, not because I'm like, oh god, their life sucks. No, it's not that. It makes me go like, oh, other people feel like I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's actually reassuring to be like, I'm normal. But
I'm the type of person that, like, I'll do an anxiety dump, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll have anxiety about the fact that I'm feeling bad about doing the anxiety dump, because I'm all like, oh, what if I caught them at a bad time? What if they, like, weren't really interested in that? What if they are upset that I haven't talked to them in, like, several days, even though I could have, and then I've suddenly done this, and all I've done is, like, a trauma dump, and I haven't actually, like, asked them how they are or anything like that. So, like, the anxiety just makes more anxiety.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, eh? How anxiety builds on itself.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's not like a scale of 0 to 100. It's like a what do they call it? Where it's like compounding.
Yeah.
It's like compounding interest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And think about it. None of it's ever logical, right?
No.
In your head, have you ever looked at your phone and been all like, wow, what a dick of a person for asking me about, like, some questions about their anxiety, or, like, you know, like,
no.
At any point have you ever, like, I've never been upset when someone has messaged me and asked for help or wanted to have a chat about something.
Never.
Right?
Never.
So why is it always in my head
that
the person that I'm talking to is thinking that way?
Do you know why?
When, like, logically.
Do you know why? And I think the problem I have with messaging, right, is that you can't read tone.
Yeah, that's so true.
And so, like, you're messaging me, let's say, and you're like, I'm feeling really anxious, blah, 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 this is the reasons, da-da-da-da-da. You don't know how I'm receiving that because you don't know how your tone is coming. Do you know what I mean? And it's something I have to remind, especially people in my house, like my oldest daughter sometimes, is like, okay, I hear you reading it like that, but what if you read it like this? Like, read it happy.
True.
And then it's a different message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other thing that's also really hard is, like, so you and I, like a lot of people in my life, will have whole fake conversations, right?
Fake conversations?
Not fake. No, they're real conversations. But, like, they'll be like, oh my god, what if this happened? And then you'll be like, oh yeah, and this. And I'll be like, oh, and that would happen. And it'll be funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole thing about God we just talked about. There's a fake conversation, right? Is so, like, when I do that, when I do the anxiety dump or whatever, I worry that they're reading it like it's a joke.
Oh, okay.
Especially if right before that I was like, ha, and then imagine if the priest exploded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're like, ha, lol, and I'll be like, I'm feeling really anxious. And you'll be like, what about priest exploding? I'll be like, no, about my job. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, fuck, oh, God, I hope they don't think that was a joke.
Yeah.
Because I'm being serious. So I kind of feel like messaging needs fonts.
Yeah, that's
like
so
anxiety
true.
font.
Yeah.
or like depression
you
font.
need like serious message. You do like what's it called when it's like on the side? Italics. Yeah. And
like
joke ones are bold.
Yeah. Joke stuff is Comic Sans. Yeah. Serious stuff is Times New Roman. It's like official.
Yeah. Especially with the kinds of things like I was saying the other day, where how my daughter's favourite line is, oh, so you just want me dead. Like,
yeah, that's
literally,
right,
hey, could you go and do the unpack the dishwasher? Oh, so you just want me dead? Like,
Yeah.
oh, can you, like, go and eat, like, that entire block of chocolate? Oh, so you just want me dead?
Yeah.
Like, literally, there's no context, and, like, it could be a happy thing, or it could be a sad thing.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, and that's just the youth lingo.
Yeah.
But
that adds to my anxiety.
yeah.
Like, that really, like, stresses
Like,
me out.
generally, I can read her, but I can understand how, especially if you're a parent that's not necessarily, like, super into technology or super into texting or anything like that, and you don't really understand a lot of what's going on, like, in those kinds of things. Like, just having your child randomly say, oh, you just want me dead, like, could actually be quite anxiety-driven. Yeah.
100%, especially if she, like, you know, like, she messages you like that because she knows... Or she talks to you and messages you like that, right?
Yeah.
Because she knows you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But imagine if she messaged like your sister.
No, but that's the thing, she does.
Oh.
Like, that's what I mean. She has no concept of, like, anybody else really, like, not understanding
not
it.
Not in the joke, yeah. Yeah.
I understand it, but, yeah, it happens on the odd occasion.
Yeah.
No one's like, oh my god, I think your child's gonna commit suicide, but sometimes they're all like, like, her Facebook, because it's not her regular thing, she she uses other things because Facebook is for old people.
Yes, it is.
So all of her Facebook stuff is just like the most bizarre quotes and shit ever, right? Just like really bizarre things.
Yeah.
Right. And I have legitimately had parents of other kids message me and be all like, hey, your daughter just wrote this on Facebook. I was a little concerned, like, is she doing okay or something like that? And I'll just have to be all like, okay, like, she's fine. You have to remember that I'm also on her Facebook, so I know what she's writing.
Yeah.
But yeah, legitimately it does happen.
Yeah, it's so funny. We really like it because Sophie's on Facebook. She never posts, you know, like very rare, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have to have conversations sometimes, like.
Oh no, this is like, she'll like post like
aside,
maybe once or maybe once a month. She'll just like drop a Facebook post and it'll be like the most bizarre out of context thing.
But Sophie will say some horrible shit. Like, jokingly, like the same thing, like, oh, so you want me dead, like, that sort of thing. And we have to be like, haha. And then sometimes we have to be like, look, that's real funny, but this is for in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, just remember that. Like, don't make these jokes when there's people over, because, like, she has this ongoing joke, you know, and I'm sure she said it in front of you and all that sort of thing. She's like, oh, no, I'm a 37-year-old Mexican. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's fun. And she loves not explaining it. Like, that's her favourite thing, is just to walk away. And so people are like, what?
She's so funny.
Yeah. Or she'll be like, oh, God, I hope I'm not deported. We're like, I think you'll be okay. But then if she says it in front of other people who don't know, they just look at us like, what?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, don't worry, she's just weird. But like, I wrote questions down.
Calling your child weird is the easiest way to explain almost everything, because else you just have to go into a whole explanation of what's happening.
Oh God, it's sometimes they're a real mind trip, eh? Because like, I wrote some questions down. Oh, they're on Google Docs. How do I do that? I'll sort it. Like, okay. So I remember some, so I'll just start there. So because we're talking about anxiety, right? And so, what is your number one thing? Keep in mind this is a family show. What is your number one thing that, like, when you're feeling anxious, you're like, okay, I'll blah. You know, like, to relieve anxiety. Like, are you like, oh, I'll listen to music.
Okay.
Oh, like, oh, there's this music I play and it comes down. Or you're like, oh, I meditate. Or I'm like, oh, I just watch a few episodes of Simpsons and it cheers me up, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is your thing that is like, this is my number one, you know?
that's a good question because I don't even know whether I really have one.
Yeah.
I think that, like, yeah, I'm sorry. I guess, like, the only thing I can really do is try and do something that's gonna, like, distract me. Unfortunately, I'm kind of one of those people that, like, I just have to talk it out.
Yeah.
Like, and usually, like, I will ignore everything that's in my head until I'm at a point where I can't ignore it anymore because the anxiety is, like, so high that I, like, you know, that I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then I have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll just, like, so I'll just, like, have to have a discussion about it, which is why when I argue with someone or I have a fight with someone, I am not the type, I cannot drive, like, I can't walk away, I can't go for a walk and calm down, I can't, like, go to sleep or, like, be like, oh, yeah, let's just wait and do it, like, talk about it another time. I can't do that. Yeah. I'm the type of person that it has to be resolved then and there.
Yeah.
At least to the point of, like, we're both feeling okay about it.
Gotcha.
Which some people hate. But I'm similar with anxiety. Like, I just have to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
talking is the thing.
Talking is the thing. I would say. Yeah.
That's good.
Probably. Yeah.
But you got to talk it out till you feel less anxious, or do you feel you've?
I feel like I have to. I have to talk it out until I feel less crazy.
Yeah. Like,
because so much of the stuff that I am anxious about is, like, super, like, weird stuff that, like, you know, I shouldn't even really be thinking about, but for some reason it just, like, piles up in my head. Yeah. Yeah.
And do you find, like, so like, when you're talking to whoever, like, say it's Doug, right?
Yeah.
Say you're anxious about like, work.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're at home and you're talking to Doug, who's your husband, for those who don't know. Not like, you know, a stuffed pet. A stuffed animal.
Stuffed animal.
He's a human. He's very cuddly.
Doug.
He gives good hugs.
He does.
You know what I mean?
He broke someone's ribs once giving them a hug.
He's never hugging me again. It's because he's humongous. Like, compared to me.
Humongous?
He's really tall compared to me. So he's humongous. Yeah. Anyway. Like, so you guys are talking it out, right?
Mm.
So, do you find... Is it that you come to a conclusion, or, you know what I mean? Like, a satisfactory, like, it's all out now, and we've discussed it, and I have a plan.
Right.
Or so that's a conclusion, right? You come up with a plan.
Yeah.
Or do you find it's just the talking about it, it's all out, and now time has passed. Like, you've talked about it for like 20 minutes, you've calmed yourself down, and now you can think about it more logically.
I think that it's more the latter, because all of my, like, generally my things are not things that can have, like, a plan.
Gotcha.
Right, ultimately. Yeah. It's not something that I can, like, fix necessarily. Yeah. And that's probably one of the reasons they're, like, they have so much anxiety for me. Yeah. Because they are things that I can't change.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I think it's more like, I'll be like, I'm thinking about... I'm trying to think of, like, an example, right? Just as, like, a hypothetical example. Yeah. Actually, I will use a hypothetical example of something that, like, did happen. Yeah. After my mum died...
Yeah.
I went through a period where, like... and I don't know exactly where it came from, but I went through a period where I would get to these, like... ridiculous areas where I'd basically be like Jorda's going to die, like I'm gonna, like, she's gonna die, and I would be like almost 100% like certain that she was gonna die at any moment, and I'm like fixed on it, right? And so I would get, like, extremely anxious and start, like, kind of freaking out about every single thing that she did.
Yeah.
Because I would, like, in the back of my mind was this constant thing of, like, she's going to die at any moment. She's just going to drop dead.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's not a thing that I could necessarily fix, because else the fix would just be like, no, she's not going to die. Like, that's just not, like, you know. So I would have to talk it out to get to a point where, like, basically just, like, where, like, I was like, okay, like, she's not dying right now.
Yeah.
This is just something that is, like a, like, anxiety-based fixation that I have at the moment.
Yeah.
Because my mum died recently,
Yeah.
and, you know, and I need to kind of, like, so it's more of a, like, talking it out to the point where I can understand it on a logical level.
Gotcha.
And almost kind of, like, talk myself out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, it does make sense. Like, you're talking so you can reflect on your own words. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that way you can...
Because and like I said, it's basically to the point of me being like, okay, I'm not crazy anymore.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm like, I know this is crazy.
Yeah.
But it won't go away.
Yeah.
And so I have to get to a point where I can logically be like, okay, what you're talking about is just crazy talk.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you know, and for me to say it and then to believe it, basically.
Yeah. Gotcha. So what do you do in situations where you're like, I can't talk to people about this? Like, not because no one's there, just because they're like, I don't feel I can talk to people about this. Or do you just be like, fuck it, I have to talk?
Yeah, I mean, like, generally speaking, like, there are things like that, and usually it's, because I still have moments where I'm like, I know this is crazy. I know what I'm thinking about is crazy. I don't want to talk to anybody about it because it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Or because, like, it's something that's, like, I'm overthinking something so strongly that... Like, so I'm, like, I do think that people will look at me and be like, what? Like, like, that's such a weird thing to think about, like, you know? Or that's just such a long way away. You know, like, sometimes I will, like, really overthink and stuff about, like, whether Jord is gonna be okay in life.
Yeah.
You know? Like, is she going to be able to get a job? Is she going to be able to function on her own? Is she going to be able to do all these things?
Yeah.
And I know, like, I have to get to a point where I'm like, you know, okay, like, I got to remember that she's only 14.
Yeah.
Like, she's a pretty normal 14-year-old. And I wasn't doing, like, any of the stuff I can do now when I was 14. I have to give her time.
Yeah.
And the logic is there, but sometimes I get to a point where I'm, like, just, like, completely freaking out about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone about this because it sounds crazy. Like, usually what happens, though, is that basically I just, like, push it down and push it down and push it down.
Yeah.
And then I explode and I just, like, cry and cry. And Doug's like, why are you crying? Literally nothing happened.
Yeah.
Literally, like, it's just the middle of the day and I'm just crying for no reason. And then I'll kind of come out with all of it and he will generally, like, Doug's really good at, like, kind of just talking me down.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Right. So, which helps, but generally speaking, that's what happens, is that it just gets so much that I cry.
Yeah. Which is not healthy.
No.
But in the end, you are, like, you're not bottling it forever. You're like, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's just
The problem is that, like, so much of it is, like, the reality is that if I talked about all of my anxiety, all of the times that I have it, then Doug would want to bury me in the ground.
Yeah.
You know? like, I think about completely ridiculous, unrealistic things all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is so bad because, like, someone's going to be like, I think you should see a counselor.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I have this, like, and this is such a, like, lot. I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to explain this so that it sounds sane, right? So, because, so I dislocate my knee sometimes.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's from right-sided weakness.
Yeah.
From my brain surgery.
Yeah.
Okay? From when I was 10.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Alex got a nail in her brain when she was 10.
A nail?
I don't know.
No. I had a brain tumor when I was 10.
There you go.
And I had brain surgery, and part of the, like, thing from that is that I have right-sided weakness.
Gotcha.
And part of that is that, like, the muscles are weak in my knees, and so my, knee dislocates.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Is it painful? Or are you just kind of used to it?
It's not really, like, painful as such, but it is such an uncomfortable feeling.
Oh, okay.
That, I would argue that if it was possible to have PTSD about dislocating your knee, that's probably what I've got.
Yeah, okay.
And I will, like, legitimately think about it all the time. Sometimes it just genuinely affects how I walk, like,
wow.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so from that, I now have passed this ongoing fear onto my child. Okay? Where there'll be, like, certain things, like, she'll get in the shower, and so I'll have this, like, very, very, like, overwhelming feeling that when that she's in the shower and she's gonna slip and she's gonna dislocate her knee and she's gonna get, like, you know, and that's never happened.
Yeah.
And I hope to God, I'm touching wood, that it will never happen. But it happens every single time she has a shower.
Yeah.
To the point where I will hyperventilate, and sometimes go into a panic attack. And I've started having what is called anxiety tics. If you think about, like, Tourette's, right?
Yeah.
Like, I will literally do random yelps.
Yeah.
Or, like, random, like, you know, like movements.
Yeah.
That are just like a build up of anxiety.
Yeah.
And, like, without knowing that I'm going to do them.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just, like,
That
randomly
just happens,
do them. Yeah. And it will happen at, like, showers especially are a big thing. Like, it happens all the time when she showers.
Yeah.
And when I shower, but mostly when she showers. Don't know why.
Yeah.
But there's, like, other times as well.
Yeah.
And, like, it's such a, like, extreme, like, it's the only thing I can think about.
Yeah.
And it's, like, such an overwhelming feeling.
Yeah.
That, it's, like, you know, and, like, there's things like that where, like, I can't really, like, I don't think that I can really fix that.
Yeah.
And talking about it doesn't fix it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So even if I tell someone about it, or even if I talk about those fears, it doesn't stop it happening at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, well, I just won't bother. Like, I just won't I'll just deal with it at the time.
Yeah.
Like, it eventually goes away.
Yeah.
And I will, like, what's the point of... And also, like, I feel a lot like, you know, how do you, like, explain that to someone?
You just did.
And, well, I guess, but to me it sounds crazy. Like, to me it sounds crazy because I know that it's not logical.
Yeah.
Like, it's just completely ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
But it's just one of those things, like, you know, and so there's things like that happen all the time. And so I don't really, like, have a way of stopping that.
Yeah.
Or, like, that, like, talking about it does not stop that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see. And so, like, but do you find, like those things that come up, like the knees, like, you know, the shower, I should say, that's better way to say it, a shower thing. Has it lessened over time, or is it still equally as strong?
It's getting worse over time.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I started like the anxiety tics. It's not always like to do with the shower. Like when I'm extremely stressed, sometimes it happens. The weirdest thing about it is that when I'm extremely distracted, I can distract myself out of it.
Yeah.
Like, but then when I'm coming down,
Yeah.
so like think about it like you're doing a work project and there's like a moment where like there's heaps of stress and you're like really busy and you're like having to put everything into it, right? And so you're like doing all of this work and working really hard and stuff like that. And then like, and you work for like 2 days or something, and then the project is done and everything is great, right? And then you come down from that.
Yes, yeah.
And you lie down and you relax.
Yeah.
That's when I have them. I don't have them at the time of the stress.
It's when your mind is empty.
Yes. So, and again, it's not necessarily always the case, because like the shower thing, like, I guess like if I am doing something, then it happens a lot less because I'm distracted.
Yeah.
But it happens a lot when like, so when I go to sleep at night, when I lie down and I finally let myself relax and my mind starts to wander. Yeah. It happens more then than when I actually am stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the 3 a.m. thing.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Have you tried like the mindfulness thing? Exercises? Like when when you go to bed, like there's these, like you can get apps and stuff. Something you have to pay for, but there's a lot of free ones where it's like it's a voice, and it's like name 3 things you can see. You know what I mean? Or name 3 colours you can see, or like what does the blanket feel like on your feet? Think about the feel of the blanket on the feet. Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it blah blah? And it just takes you through these series of exercises where it helps you clear your mind. Right. Yeah, and a lot of people, like I've done it before at work, when you like you said, you have those days where you're just so full on, your stress levels are at max, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to book 2 minutes and go in a room and like do this exercise, and then you come out and you're like, okay, cool, I'm refocused, and you can just. Some people just go make a coffee, right? Yeah. But, like, some people also, like... It's a hard one because, okay, so I'm not the type of person, I'm not the type of person that, like, I lie down in bed and then I have so many thoughts in my head that I can't go to sleep. Yeah. You know? So I will lie down. I will sometimes have, like, sometimes it's not... God... sometimes I'm not even thinking about things. I think sometimes my body just like reacts like that, even if I'm not thinking about anything. Gotcha. My mind is like totally blank. Yeah. But the good thing is that, look, I mean, like I do get those things sometimes, but it's not like, it doesn't actually like stop me sleeping or anything like that. All right. Because I have kind of like long, I guess they're mindful things. But I'm very, very good at being like, I can be like, all right, it's time to sleep now. And then I just literally shut off my brain and I go to sleep. Wow. Like immediately. Yeah, yeah. I don't like have never had trouble. Even I can be like in the most stressful moment of my life. Yeah. And I can still lie down in a bed and go, all right, I'm going to sleep now. And then just go to sleep. Wow. And I think also... a lot of people envy that. Yeah. Not me, I'm the same. Doug's like, you're an alien. Yeah. Because I will just be like, oh, I'm going to go to sleep now. And then I'll just lay my head down. And he's all like, and you're literally instantly asleep. Yeah. And that was like I've pretty much trained myself to do that. Wow. Like I trained myself. My mum was all into those mindful things. I think that probably when I was young, I probably did get unintentionally taught how to do mindful stuff. Okay. Because I can also, I can also be like quite good at, if I'm thinking about like a really scary thought, then I can be like black or blank. Yeah.
Like, all I think about is black or blank.
Yeah.
And, like, literally, I can put up, like, a metaphorical wall.
Gotcha.
And,
yeah.
everything will go away.
Wow.
Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's really difficult to do, depending how, like, weird the thing is or scary the thing is.
Yeah.
Like, to me,
Yeah,
personally. But, like, yeah, I can quite often, like, just be all, like, no, I don't want to think about that anymore, like, blank. Like, and then just, like, literally my mind will go blank. It's like a wall has gone up.
Amazing. I think that's a really good
Which
skill.
is really dumb, right? Because, like, I've got all of these tools.
Yeah.
But, obviously, like, those anxiety-driven things...
Yeah.
Like, one could argue if I'm just, like, putting up a wall of blank...
Yeah.
And not, like, whenever I get scared of something... Am I then, like, pushing that into something else, which is turning into anxiety tics?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, because the, like, my... because definitely, like, over time, like, I'm just getting weirder stuff happen.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the anxiety has always been there even since I was young.
Yeah.
But the reactions to the anxiety as I get older are getting stranger.
But do you think that's because, like, as you've gotten older, say from, like you said, say you had them when you were young. So let's say, like, compared to when you're, like, 12 to now, like, your life responsibilities have gone up, like, 900 times.
Oh, yeah.
The level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're 12, all your responsibilities are, like, did I do my homework? Did I do my chores?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the level, right? I mean, not everyone. I know there's kids in India who are like, I have to go dig into mine. I'm not talking about them, right? Like, they sleep fine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure they're like, oh my God, how much cobalt will I get in my nails today? But, like, wow, I really went somewhere there. Okay, but, like, you know, we're talking about us, people here. Like, when you're 12, it's like, have I done my homework? When's my project due? Whatever, you know what I mean? Oh, does my friend like me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like this boy sort of thing, or girl.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're like, I have a daughter, I have a job, I have a mortgage, I have a car that needs fixing, I have a bloody my someone's dying. And,
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, 100%
it's never ending.
true.
Like,
yeah.
and it's never ending.
It's never ending.
Yeah, and every time you think I'm in a good place, it's like, oh, now the hot water cylinder needs repair. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay.
I always go by this thing of, like, bad things come in threes. So if something bad happens, or, like, something bad happens and then something bad happens again, I'm always like... One more.
Yeah.
Like, I know that something else as bad is going to happen, so I'm just preparing myself for it.
Yeah. I've always wanted to know what that time frame is for those three things, though, because I'm just like, could we just get this done?
Sometimes it's stretched out, which is annoying.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. But, part of the new thing I want to do in the show, which we tried to do in the last, like, when Kels was doing it, but, like, quick fire questions.
Oh, okay.
But I've only written so many, because I couldn't think of any. So I'm going to give you the questions I've written. I got 5.
Okay, I'm warning you, I have to pause for a few seconds just to process the question.
So when I say quick fire, I mean, like, I want the answer to be short.
Right.
But you can take your time to think about it.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I don't want to, like, a history of, like...
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying, like this is the, like, it's a quick answer. Okay. What's a song that always makes you happy or cheers you up? It doesn't have to be, like, the best one, just something that makes you, like, oh, whenever I hear this, reminds me of good times.
Dynamite by BTS.
Okay. You're a big BTS person, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I have to look it up. What would
No,
you...
don't. It's a bad song of theirs.
Okay. Weird. But it's the one that makes you happy. Cheers you up.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Mine is a song, and it's called I Look Real Good Today.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I don't know who done it, but the rest of the songs are terrible. Everything he's done is terrible except for this one song. And I don't know what it is about the song, but it just makes me happy. And I sing it around the house, and it drives the kids mental. What would you have on a perfect sandwich? It doesn't have to be the whole sandwich, just what are some things that must be on a perfect sandwich?
Okay, Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty, like, I like things that aren't going to make a sandwich smushy.
Okay. So no tomatoes.
You know. So I genuinely would probably just go for something, like, really simple. Like, I just like champagne ham, lettuce, mayo, mustard. Like,
That's a good sandwich.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm not
a crazy sandwich
Yeah.
like person.
I've always thought I could 100% live in France, because you hear about people who live there and they're like, oh yeah, every day for breakfast we get up and have a baguette with lots of butter and ham. I'm like, fucking yes please. That sounds like a good sandwich, by the way. What's a movie that made you... What was the last movie... Or what is a movie... No, what is a movie that always makes you cry or get emotional? That emotion doesn't have to be sadness, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It could be like, this makes me laugh crying.
Oh, right.
Or it could be like, this makes me so angry.
I wouldn't keep watching it if it was angry.
Weirdly, I do. It's so strange.
There's this movie that just, like, I mean, I'm just going off the top of my head. There's probably lots of them, but there's a movie called I Am Sam, and, like, every time I've watched it, like, maybe 3 times because it's so sad that I don't like watching it.
Yeah.
But it's a movie that, like, I cry through 3/4 of the entire movie.
Wow.
Like, it's,
okay.
Yeah.
I Am Sam. All right. Remind me of that, because I'll message you later and be like, what was that movie again?
Yeah.
Garden gnomes. Cool or nah?
What?
Garden gnomes. You know garden gnomes?
Yeah.
In your garden, are they cool or nah?
I think they're cool.
Okay, good. Wrong answer.
Wrong answer?
No, there's no wrong answers. And finally, Cadbury or Whittaker's?
Whittaker's, obviously.
Obviously,
I mean, Whittaker's, but, like, have you seen the price of them?
I know.
It's $9 fucking for a block at the
crazy,
moment. It's
right?
Crazy.
But it's worth every cent.
Yeah.
When they're on sale.
Again, I'm, like, not... I like sweet stuff, but I don't like super sweet stuff.
Yeah.
So I like this kind of, like, weird middle area. So I'll like a chocolate cake that's made from, like, dark, like, you know, really chocolatey type chocolate.
Yeah. As
opposed to, like, kind of that more fakey type chocolate that's really sweet, like Cadbury.
Like Cadbury, yeah.
And so for me, Whittaker's is nice because it's mellow chocolate. Like, I can eat 5 bits of Whittaker's without feeling sick, but I can only eat 2 bits of Cadbury.
It's just they got that bitterness, eh?
Yeah.
That's that, like, cocoa bitterness.
Yeah.
Just so good. All right. Those are your quickfire questions, because I've only written 5 of them. But if you think of some, or if anyone who's listening to this think of some, please, for the love of God, send me some. Send me some.
Send me some. I'm going to think of some.
Yeah. What's your favourite book?
What's my favourite book?
Or what's a book that you would recommend?
Oh,
it doesn't have to be like a novel. It could be like I was just looking over there, and like V for Vendetta, or like what's that one over there? Oh, that one's a Gary Larson book.
It's been such a, like, I mean, I read the same books over and over again.
Yeah.
Just like anything by Terry Pratchett.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite Terry Pratchett book?
Yeah, Thief of Time.
Oh, we've talked about this.
Yes.
And because my favourite one's like the one before or after it.
Yeah.
In the series.
I think so.
Yeah. Because it was Thief of Time and then Night Watch.
Yes.
Or Night Watch and then Thief of Time. One of those.
Night Watch is after Thief of Time.
Yeah.
Thief of Time is kind of one of the older ones.
I loved Thief of Time.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I like Night Watch that much more. Just the idea of him going back and teaching himself and shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you don't know what we're talking about, you're a loser because you don't read Discworld. So
just read Terry Pratchett.
Yeah, Jesus, he's so good. I desperately want the kids to read the Discworld novels, and they just won't do it. I even tried to get them to read the, like, Johnny and the Bomb, and you can say, like, that series, and they're just like, no, it's not her. And I'm like, yeah, but you've read, like, magician bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like the little boy, what is his name? Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter. I like Harry Potter.
Harry Potter shit. It's just
Have you read the book though?
Oh fuck no. I tell you why I hate Harry Potter. Sorry, I know I said we'll wrap this up, but I hate Harry Potter because I was like, if you became a magician, like if I became a magician, the first magic trick would be for money. I'd be like, what's the one that gives me the most money?
Oh, right.
And then they'll be like, oh, this one, Money Leviosa or whatever. Cha-ching Leviosa. Leviosa is the only word I know from Harry Potter. And I'll be like, yeah, that one. And then they'll be like, do you want to learn other ones? I'll be like, nah. Oh, what's the one that gets me a sandwich? You know what I mean? What's the one that gets my Uber here real quick?
I mean, obviously there is rules about that.
Oh, I would be expelled immediately.
Like, as far as I'm aware, they actually, like, because there is actually, like, a whole plot point about the fact that, because the first book is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
And the Philosopher's Stone is literally a stone that got created that makes them live forever and gives them infinite money, infinite gold and stuff.
So there you go.
Yeah, but it's super impossible to make.
Oh.
Like, so that's why, like, literally this one dude has managed to make, like, basically one of them.
Yeah.
And, like, no others exist because they're so difficult to make.
Yeah.
And after, like in the actual book, he gets to, like, 700 years old or whatever, and he's all like,
I'm done
this
with
is, like, super boring.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's all like, I don't want to live forever anymore. Everybody that I know has died. Like, you know, like, it's, like, a whole thing. And so, because basically, like, the Voldemort is trying to find this, Philosopher's Stone. Yeah.
Voldemort's the bad guy, right? He's like the Hans Gruber of the whole thing.
Okay. So, yeah, there is a way, but it's kind of what is basically considered, like, dark magic.
Yeah.
And usually to get it, you have to do some bad things to make it. Yeah. And it's very, very, like, difficult to create. Like, alchemy is not an easy process.
No, I've tried.
So
it hasn't worked.
So that's why.
Right.
Is that there just is no magic for that.
Can I tell you the one other thing I hate about Harry Potter? This is the last thing.
Also, like, just before you do that, Harry Potter, right? He finds out that he's a wizard, and then literally as soon as he finds out that he's a wizard, he also finds out that his parents were, like, hella rich.
Yeah, so this is what I'm getting to, right?
he has all the money.
This is what I'm getting to. I knew this, and this is just what I was going to bring up. So in the first one, because I've seen the first one, and like the first 20 minutes of the second one, and I'm like, fuck you, never again, right? I watched the first one with my daughter, with Gabby, because she loved it. Yeah. She's like, Dad, watch it with me. I was like, okay. And I watched it going, God sakes, this is terrible. And then they get to the vault with all the money.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I can't afford any of this big giant man.
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, Harry.
Big giant man, yeah.
I'll sort you out.
Yeah.
And then he's like, here's all your money. Yeah. And it's all this fucking money, right? Yeah. And then whatever happens. I couldn't give a shit what happens after that. Right? But then in the second one, right? In the second one, he's back living with his auntie and uncle under this. And I'm like, bitch, you had all the fucking money. I would have bought and sold their asses. Do you know what I mean? I would have been like, I'm just here for my shit, and I'm moving into the fucking Hilton.
There is kind of a few plot holes, but essentially what happens is that there are certain types of magic where you can actually, like, so how Harry Potter's parents die, right, is that they were in a particular house or property, right? And then they put a spell over it, and then they have what's called a secret keeper. So basically you have one person in the entire world that knows where that is.
Gotcha, yeah.
And they are meant to be, like, the most trusted person, right?
Yeah.
Right. But that person betrayed them.
Gotcha.
And that's how he found them and killed them. Okay?
Okay.
So there's kind of that underlying idea of, like, there are ways to hide yourself.
Yeah.
And ways to, like, you know, okay? So basically, because Dumbledore, like,
Dumbledore's the old one, eh?
Yes,
Okay.
and because, like, and honestly, like, who knows? I mean, Dumbledore didn't know his auntie and uncle.
Yeah.
And it's very much like the same way that our social workers, like, you know, are basically like, they need to stay with relatives, right?
Yeah.
He's all like, I'm going to drop them off to their relatives. Like, these are people that are their family. This is people that are going to bring him up and, like, he's going to, like, be loved.
Yeah.
Right?
And
he didn't know that they were fucking assholes.
No, yeah,
right?
they were, yeah.
And then he just kind of disappears for 11 years.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, they've put a spell on the house.
Yeah. Oh, so he's
that
safe.
means that while he's in that house, he is safe.
Yeah.
And
but, hold on, hang on.
And so essentially the reason why he keeps going back to that house is because it's kind of a secret house.
Yeah.
Because he has to go home from school. He can't really stay in school.
Yeah, I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
This is basically like it's a secret house that the bad guys can't find. And that's why he has to keep going back.
I just kind of think there's ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, he could have just bought a house and put a new spell on it.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I mean,
anyway,
but he's also like a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, he can't just go and, like, buy a house or whatever, like, essentially.
He should have lived with the ginger kid.
Well, there are, like, later in the series, he will go home from school and then he does go and basically stay with the ginger kid for the Ron for the entire time, right? Because they then are like, okay, well, he's older, he can make more decisions for himself, and we now know that his parents are assholes, his auntie and uncle are assholes.
Okay, cool.
So now they are, like, Ron's parents are like, okay, we are willing to, like, you know, become responsible for him and be his guardians and, like, you know. So that kind of stuff does happen.
This episode is going to be called Harry Potter Stupid.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are lots of plot twists in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But if you read the book and you don't watch the movie, because
it's
all the
worse.
it's at least, I would say at least 95% of the plot holes in the movie are explained in the book.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm still not going to read them, but it's okay. They're not my thing. I prefer, like, invisible universities.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, fuck that shit. I prefer Terry Pratchett.
Please, the book you're reading is basically Game of Thrones.
I way prefer Terry Pratchett because it's like, plot hole. Oh, there's a plot hole here. I know, magic. That fixes it. that was his level of fixing. He's like, it's magic.
Yep.
Yeah. Whenever I notice, like, whenever something has a plot hole, he's just like, I'll just make it violet, which is the colour of magic. Yep. You know what I mean? He's just like, there you go, fix. Cool. Well, thanks for doing this with me. This has been fun. It's nice to do it again, and we will get back to our regular scheduled podcast at some point.
Yes.
Pretty soon.
Yes.
Pretty soon. I think we're going to get back to it pretty soon.
Oh.
And, thanks. Thanks for doing the show. So, don't jump, everyone. And thank you, Alex. I don't think I said your name once.
Oh, no.
That's so bad. This is the Alex.
The Alex.
The Alex.
I'm not as interesting as the Cal, but I am the Alex.
You are the Alex, yeah. And thanks for doing the show.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Bye.
Bye.